Hi sweet friends and happy Wednesday. Thanks so much for clicking on my channel to see what's new here at Cottage to Courtyard. I hope you all had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend and were showered with lots of love and blessings. So for today's video, we are going to decorate not one but two spaces. We're going to refresh my kitchen and then we're going to decorate the top of my new credenza. Alright my friends, let's start in my kitchen where, as you can see, everything has been removed except for the things that have to remain for everyday use. Today I'll be refreshing everything with a light soft color palette of blues, whites, and a bit of green to go along with the touches of black and white. In a tiny kitchen like mine, it's really important to have a cohesive look without too much visual clutter, and how I achieve that is by using colors, patterns, and themes on repeat to create continuity and have things flow nicely from one space and vignette to the next, and I'll talk about that as we go along. We'll start here in the coffee station where I have our K-cups hidden inside this Hobby Lobby cubby shelf, which I just love. First we'll add this really pretty bird themed melamine platter to create a backdrop and set the tone for the rest of the refreshed design. And I forgot to mention that the bird themed platter was from a grocery store in California a few years ago. Next, I added my antique copper bucket, which holds our napkins and spoons for our coffee, there on the left. And then on the right side, I placed my Mackenzie Child's pitcher with some greenery cascading down the side. There in the center, I placed a mama chicken and her two baby chicks nestled in some greenery and an Excelsior straw. To finish this vignette, I added two mini topiaries in terracotta pots, along with another piece of the same greenery that I used inside the Mackenzie Child's pitcher, cascading down on the left side. And now let's move on over to the area above my sink. This wreath stays here almost all the time. I just change out the floral and decor on it for the seasons, etc. It has the same greenery on it that we placed behind the little chicken on the coffee station that we just did, and for continuity. And now, if you notice, we have Mackenzie Child's here in this area as well on repeat in the candles and soap dish, again for continuity and cohesion. We're going to add some color to the wreath area, and we'll do that by stacking these two melamine plates held together by Gorilla double-sided tape, and I also adhered them to the wall inside the wreath using the same Gorilla double-sided tape. I absolutely love these plates. The floral salad plate came from a grocery store in California a few years ago, and the solid plate came from TJ Maxx a couple of years ago. And as you can see, the colors in the plates complement the bird platter on the coffee station. And here's what I did to the wreath to give it a touch of spring. I added a small nest with eggs, two Dollar Tree birdhouses that I painted white, and then two birds made of fiberboard to complete the bird theme we have going. I didn't have any ribbon on hand to make a bow, and I'll probably pick some up in the next day or so I can add that to the top of the wreath. Next up is this area to the left of the sink. It definitely needs a change, and I'd like to omit the gold color utensil holder for now and replace it with something lighter and more French country looking. I purchased these two vessels at Hobby Lobby a couple of weeks ago when they were 50% off, and we're going to use them here in the kitchen. Here's how I use the large vessel, and it makes a fabulous utensil holder, I think. This area was absolutely calling for an interesting backdrop, so I placed a thrifted frame that I painted black and then added the bird print clipboard in front of it, which I made a while back to create interest and once again repeat the bird theme with shades of blue and a touch of black. Moving over to the stovetop, where I basically keep it pretty simple. My Mackenzie Child's tea kettle is always a staple, as is the large cutting board. I like a little bit of color in front of the cutting board, and I added this topiary print that has lovely shades of green in it and adds a nod to the mini topiaries over on the coffee station area. Again, repeat and continuity. Alright, my friends, this is our last area to decorate in the kitchen. This narrow little corner by the stove can be very challenging to do sometimes, but it's always fun. And once again, I added 2 of the same plates I used on the wreath on a sage green easel. From there, I placed the chalkboard sign behind it, along with a rooster and some of the same greenery that I used on the wreath above the sink and on the coffee station. And last, I added the small French country vessel with a messy excelsior straw nest with some eggs on top to complete it. By using the rooster here, it ties it in well with the mama chicken and babies at the other end of the counter. Everything is color balanced, well coordinated from one side of the counter to the other, and allows continuity and repeat for the eye to follow. Alright friends, here's a look at my new French country credenza that we'll be decorating today. I still haven't found the right lamps that I want to purchase, so for now we'll just be using these. First, I placed a blue and white check table runner for a nice touch of color to this otherwise very neutral area. Then I wanted some texture, so I added a large wicker basket with some greenery inside, and we'll be adding more color in just a moment, which repeats from the kitchen area that we just did. As you can see, I'm using the same 2 plates in the basket to kick off this vignette with some beautiful color. Then I added a chicken on the right with some eggs and excelsior straw in front, and a small copper lamb mold in front of the plates. The white flower bush was added at the back to give light and depth to the basket, but I'm not finished just yet. To complete the basket, I simply draped a French kitchen towel over on the front left side, then added a couple of my vintage rolling pins to the right to finish the look. So now let's take a look at the finished vignette, where I've added a small rooster to the left of the basket with a few terracotta pots nestled in by its side. Then moving over to the right, you'll see a large gray rooster standing proud and tall with a terracotta pot on its side with some eggs and moss in it. Over by the lamp, there are more plates stacked up with a cloche on top, covering another terracotta pot and egg with a bit of straw. Okay guys, I wanted to change things up a little bit, so I switched out the glass cloche and I added a white rusty iron cloche in its place. Then I tucked a pretty vintage floral behind it for a little more interest in color, and I'll show you that in a quick close-up of it in just a moment before we go on to get a closer look at the entire vignette. Before I go, I want to show you all the hook bars at each end of the credenza. I placed some random things on them until I can find just the right vintage copper pieces, baskets, and whatever else I come up with to go in their places. I love the way they look on the credenza. They add such character to it and even more French country flavor, don't you think? Alright dear friends, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me as I decorated the kitchen and credenza, and I hope it inspired you in some way. Thanks so much for joining me, and come back next week to see what I'm up to here on Cottage to Courtyard. You all take care, and always remember how special you all are to me. Bye bye my lovelies.